Hi everyone, it's Karen Whooley and welcome to this week's version of the Team Whooleygan live chat. I'm losing my voice still, guys. I have to get used to this dry weather over here, so if I sound a little funny, I apologize. I noticed you guys are already chatting in the chat room, so before I head over there, I just wanted to do my normal opening. So first of all, if you want to learn more about me, you can follow me at KarenWhooley.com. That's my website. Everything there is to know about Karen Whooley Designs is there on the website. Classes, books, patterns, who I am, what I do, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you check it out. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe to my newsletter. The link right here at the bottom of the screen will get you right to the newsletter. And the first thing you'll get right away is a free pattern. So make sure that you subscribe and get your free pattern. It's only available to newsletter subscribers. And every January, you get a new free pattern. So make sure you subscribe to my newsletter. If you're not watching on YouTube, here down at the bottom is my YouTube link. Go ahead and hit subscribe there so you know every time I go live or every time I create a new video and post it. Also, make sure you hit the thumbs up button or the like button here on this video so that my videos will be seen by other people and we can grow our community here on YouTube. If you're not following me on Facebook, go ahead and follow me on Facebook. I simultaneously stream live on both Facebook and on YouTube currently. So make sure you follow me on Facebook. I do a lot of posting of things I find in the fiber industry. Hang on a sec, guys. A lot of things that I find on the in the fiber industry, cool patterns, all sorts of stuff. So make sure you follow me on Facebook. And when you go there too, you'll also find that I do have a Team Whooleygan group on Facebook. We're not real active right now. I've been really lax on posting over there, but hopefully in the next month or two, I will be posting more often over there. You can also follow me on Instagram at Karen Whooley, no spaces in my name. This is where I am the most active. So make sure you follow me on Instagram and make sure you engage wherever you follow me. Make sure you engage, whether it's in the chat rooms when I do a live or post comments or on Facebook and Instagram. You know, start a conversation with me. That's awesome. I'd love to have that happen. If you're not using any of those social medias, one other social media you might be interested in is Rumble. After the fact, I always upload these live videos to Rumble. And in any new video that I do, I also upload to Rumble. So you can check out my Rumble channel. It's right there on the screen. And if you're not a member of Rumble, it's free to join. I do have an affiliate link, though, that is scrolling down there at the bottom. So if you're interested in checking out Rumble and want to subscribe, if you would use that link, I'll get a little bit of a kickback from them just to help support my business. So make sure you do that. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and head over to the chat room and see who's here. You guys have been chatting a little bit. Let's see. There's Linda. She's on her way home and she'll be here soon. Cool. Hi, Laura. Good morning. I'm glad you're here. And she's also asking what's on your hook. And I'm going to be talking about what's on my hook here in just a second. So you guys, whatever you're working on, let us know. Pat's here. Good morning, Pat. And Pat's already told us she's working on a blanket. That's awesome. Hope you're doing well with your healing and walking around okay and getting better. And there's Mary Ann. Good morning, Mary Ann. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad everybody is here. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you guys following me and joining me here on these lives every week. First, before we get started with all my stuff, last week I actually had to rush off really fast because the hospital called and let me know when I needed to check in. You guys all know that, or I think everybody here knows that I had surgery last Thursday, so a week ago tomorrow. It went really well. I got home really fast. They actually, the anesthesiologist gave me a lot less pain medication. So I woke up really fast. I mean, literally, I got home before 11 a.m. My surgery was, or I had to check in at 8. So that tells you how quickly they did the surgery. The cool thing is that they didn't find any tumors. She did take a couple biopsies, and I'm still waiting on the results. So, but as far as it looks right now, it looks like I may have beat this. So guys, thank you so much for praying for me and for sending all the good vibes and all that. I'm hoping I will hear from the doctor today to confirm that. So until I hear that for sure, please keep the prayers and good thoughts coming, so that I can actually feel like I have a path forward, because right now I'm kind of still in limbo, and I hate that. I really hate the limbo. So, I mean, a couple more people popped in, so I want to just jump in. And there's Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie. It's good to see you too. I'm so glad you popped in for a bit. And Laura says you're working on a mile a minute and a Lego drawstring bag. Oh, cool. Thank you, Laura. I'm really glad the surgery went as quick and as fast as it did. Hi, Linda. You're working on dishcloths for your son's new condo in Atlanta. Cool. Thanks. I appreciate it. And Laura says, you got this virtual hug. I love it when you guys do stuff like that for me. It makes me smile, and it makes me really feel good. I mean, I love being around with you guys and chatting with you every Wednesday. So thanks for being here, and thanks for being such a great support system for me. Marianne, good news. Yes, I just want the doctor to confirm it, that everything's okay. So I'm hoping she goes on vacation tomorrow. So I'm really hoping I hear today. She goes on vacation for a week. So I really want her to call me. Anyway, okay. So you guys are all sharing what you're working on. I am working on, I showed you guys this last week. I had this yarn. This is linen yarn from Fiber and Natura, which is is one of the brand names that Universal Yarns does. And I showed you a picture of this. This is a market bag that I designed back in, I just realized it's 2010. I designed it and released the pattern. And I'm remaking it in this yarn, and I'm going to be re-releasing the pattern. And I can't remember who asked me last week, but asked me about a produce bag that they can use for the grocery store. And there will be a version of this for that. I figured out exactly how I want to make it. So this might be a twofer pattern where it has the big market bag and the smaller 8-inch produce bag. So that's what I'm working on right now. This is kind of the next project that I'm working on, the next pattern that I'm working on, and I've got a couple of other projects coming up the pike. I just got yarn yesterday for another super secret project, so I can't show you that. But I'll be working on that probably starting Monday next week, and I'm hoping to get that one done before the end of the month, because I have a bunch of other projects that I need to get done. But let me pull up this Fiber and Natura here so you guys have the link. This is the Fiber and Natura flax yarn. That's the link if you're interested in checking it out. I love it. I mean, linen is notoriously given a bad rap because it's very it's rough to work with, but this one is actually, I've had to rip it out a couple times because I went farther than I was supposed to with the original loop mesh. The way this bag is made is that the mesh at the bottom opens up bigger so that it kind of tapers. So you can get more in the bottom, and then it gets a little smaller as it goes to the top. And I did the larger mesh a little bit too far. So I'd rip it out, and it's made the flax really soft, or the linen really soft, by ripping it out. So I think this is going to be one of those projects that it might be a little hard on the hands when you're working on it, but as you keep using the bag, it will soften up and you'll love it. And I'm actually really loving this flax, or this, they call it flax. It's really linen. I really like it. It's strong too, which a lot of linen can be very fragile, especially in the finer weights. And this one I think is about a fingering weight. I have to really look it up to be sure, but it's pretty strong. So I really like how it's turning out. So that's what I'm working on. I'm also working on, I showed you this before. I showed you these before, but I actually finished a set now. I told you that my daughter's friend wanted these coasters and I had to rewrite the pattern because the free pattern was written horribly. Here's her little Bohemian Coasters. I finally was able to separate all the strands, and I still have to cut them so that they are, you know, more even, because you can see here, this one's a little longer than everything else. But I need to, you know, just to trim them up. But this is the first set. I have 3 more sets to make of 4 of these for Kelsey, my daughter's best friend. So, but this is the first set. So these are finished, and other than the trim. So these are actually really fun. And it might be something that I will, if you guys like them, I may post them up on the blog, because it's just a free pattern. I'm just going to rewrite it so that it makes more sense. Oh, Laura, you're the one who was asking for the smaller bag. Yep. Okay. So there will be a pattern coming. I don't know exactly when this pattern will be released yet for the bags, because I'm still working on the sample, and I got to make sure I do a tech edit on both patterns and charts, because the original pattern that I designed never had charts for it. So, and everything I release now has charts. So it's all going to depend on photography and charting and tech editing. But I'm hoping before the end of the year. Not necessarily, though. It depends on how things fall this year. So, and she thinks these are interesting coasters. They are interesting coasters. They're called Bohemian Coasters, and that's what she wanted. So that's what she's getting. So they are kind of cool. So that whole set's done. Okay, so I also finished, and I don't know if you guys are following me on Instagram at all or Facebook. Those of you, I know Linda's here on Facebook, but I had posted about, we have a slow crawl here in the Pacific Northwest. And they call it the slow crawl because it's like a yarn shop tour that you do, where you can go, you have a certain set of time and you go to all the shops and you have a passport. You get free patterns and sale yarns on those patterns and all that kind of stuff. The slow crawl is actually Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. And it goes from Memorial Day until Labor Day. So usually there's a lot of shops. This year there's only 30, which is really shocking to me. But at every shop you get at least 1 free pattern. There's a total of 50 free patterns. And I have 2 this year. One of them is called Cyclamen in the Moss. I do not have a sample of it. It is at the local yarn shop over on the west side of the state. It is a shawl pattern done in lace weight yarn. It's hot pink. If you've seen me on Instagram or on Facebook, I have posted pictures of it. The only way you can get that pattern right now is for free through the shop doing the tour. And to do that, you can go to StillyRiverYarns.com, StillyRiverYarns.com. I'm going to say it slowly. And you can purchase a passport for $10. And you can do the tour whether you live here or whether you live anywhere else in the world. They are doing it both virtually and physically. So if you're interested, go check it out. It's called Slow Crawl Pacific Northwest. I think it's slowcrawl.com, I think is the website. That gives you all the information about the shops. But each shop has their rules of how you get the free pattern. Most of them, it's if you're doing it virtually, you can purchase anything. Even like I know for example, for Stilly River Yarns, if you purchase the passport through her, you automatically get my free pattern. If you purchase even just a crochet hook from them, they will give you the free pattern. So every sale from Memorial Day to Labor Day, online, as long as you let them know you're part of the slow crawl and you have purchased a passport, you will get the free pattern. But what I wanted to show you is that I have another free pattern, and that's for my local shop here on the eastern side of the state. The name of that shop is Sheep's Clothing in Kennewick, Washington. And I made a second sample so that I could have photography done of this one because she's got the original in her shop. This is old blue jeans. And it's just a basic, winter hat with a removable pom-pom. It's got a snap up at the top. I'm going to pop that off really quick. It's got a snap. I showed you these last week that I had gotten the yarn. Well, it only took me 2 days to redo the sample. So I finished it and I thought I'd show it to you before I send it off to photography. And now I'm going to have trouble getting that. There we go. This is old blue jeans. The base, the brim is made with the Kobasi DK yarn in the color in the navy. And that's the link to the Kobasi yarn. This lighter blue is called Stormy Skies. It's from Bellatrista Yarns. And this is actually a DK weight soy yarn. It's a soy, 100% soy fiber. This is one of those fibers that I had told you several weeks ago that you don't want to wet and stretch because it will snap and break. It's one of those that you kind of put on a blocking board, don't pin it out, kind of wet it a little bit and then kind of adjust it. That's the soy yarn. And then the pom-pom is from Knitting Fever International. It's called For Real Pom. That's the link to get the pom. There are so many colors of this. In fact, if you go to sheepsclothing.com, actually it's called A Knotty Habit. That's what it is. It's a knotty, KNOTTY habit.com. That's their website. If you go to her website, you can see the kits that she's created for this hat too. So you can get, if you want this pattern and you have to have the passport to be able to get this pattern for free. You can purchase the kit and it'll include the pattern as well. So for free. This pattern will be released into my own catalog in November. So if you don't want to join the slow crawl at all, I will be releasing this pattern. And the cyclamen and the moss will be released in October, just so you know. Both of them right now are listed at $10 patterns, and that's because the slow crawl requires all of the patterns to be listed at $10. Honestly, I would never sell either one of these patterns for $10. They are going to be less than that when I release the patterns, just so you guys know. And the cyclamen, the moss shawl will be released in October, and this new old blue jeans will be released in November. So there you go there. So let me see, I got some comments here. Thank you for the sale yesterday. Oh, I saw Marianne. In fact, I just processed your order this morning, so it'll be going out in the mail either today or tomorrow. You're so welcome. I was excited about Ocean's Day, World Oceans Day. I love the ocean, you guys. Everybody who has been around since I published Coastal Crochet really knows how much the ocean means to me, being a West Coast girl, and how, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, so I was always there. And here in Washington, we lived at the coast or near the coast for 20 years. So, I could just drive 5 miles, and I was at the coastline. So now I'm at the river, which is a little different, but it's still water. So, but I had to do something for World Oceans Day. So thanks for that. And then Irene, I haven't seen you in a long time. Thanks for being here. I'm so glad you popped in. It's good to see you. Hope all's well. Okay, so I showed you the couple things that I finished. So I'm trying to think. There's something else. I feel like I'm forgetting something today. I showed you this. I showed you the hat. I did finish my new version of the Queen of Hearts shawl. It is on the blocking board in the other room over there, so I can't really show it to you right now what it looks like. But that is done. So let's see. Mary Ann says, I'm on the Intercoastal Waterway in Daytona Beach. Okay, cool. See, you like the water then too. It's just something about being at the beach or even growing up in Northern California, the Rocky Coast. For me, that's really the coastline, the Rocky Coast of the Northern California, Oregon, and even Southern Washington, where we have all the rocks and the big crashing waves on the Rocky Coast. I love that. So that is that's the beach to me. My best friend lives in she's currently in Colorado, but she has her main home is in Huntington Beach, California, and it's the sandy beaches, and it's the beach, and it's the ocean, but it's not the same to me. So there you go. Mary Ann's asked me, oh, okay, this is my pattern Filigree. I'm going to stand up. I'm wearing it as a poncho. I'm going to take it off here for a sec. Okay, so Filigree is a little topper. It's got points on two sides. So it looks like a poncho, but you can also wear those points sideways. In fact, when you look at the cover of my pattern, the points are at either arm. So you can wear it either way. This is actually made in a zobber ball cotton. If you've ever seen the zobber balls where it's the funky colors and this is the cotton. And I'm gonna have to shift this around a little. Where's my center? There we go. It's done in Delta Crochet, which is a class I teach. I also wrote a book for Annie's Attic. Oh, that's what I want to show you. That reminds me. So I wrote a book called Delta Crochet for Annie's Attic. I'm going to show it to you here really quick. You can still get the book in digital format. I think on Amazon you can still find it in print as well. I no longer have any copies in print, so I just know you can get it from Annie's. And it's actually similar to this one right here. I'm going to bring it up a little closer here. Although this one has a turtleneck on it. I took the turtleneck off on this, and that's why it's called Filigree. So you can get this pattern. It's on my website under wraps and shawls. I consider this a wrap because it is a poncho style type thing. But it's one ball of the zobber ball cotton. And it's so much fun to make. It starts at the neckline and you work down. And you can continue to make it longer if you want. I just made a one ball, a one skein project, and it's not going to sit on my shoulders now the way I want it to. Okay. I'm not going to fuss with it much more. Okay, there we go. But I like the zobber ball because of the way it's striped. This one's almost like a watermelon. And I love that it's cotton because it's perfect for summer. I have a long sleeve shirt on underneath it because it was a little chilly in the house this morning, but you can wear it with a tank top. You can just throw it over something on a breezy summer night kind of thing. And it also will transition into fall, obviously with my long sleeves here, or spring even, because of the cooler evenings. So you don't have to make it in cotton. You can make it both versions. The one that I just showed you and this one are cotton, but you can make it in a wool or I use fingering weight yarn. DK is the thickest I would make this because of the lace and the way it wears. I mean, you could do it in worsted, but you wouldn't have the nice lacy holes if you did it in worsted. And you would have to adjust your gauge if you went to worsted. Fingering and sport weight, maybe DK. You might be able to play with the gauge to get it to work out, but I wouldn't go any higher than DK really is where I'm thinking. But yes, thank you, Irene. I think this is a gorgeous color too. There's so many different colors in zobber ball, so check them out. Maker's Mercantile, I can tell you, carries them. A lot of local yarn shops carry the zobber balls. So if you're interested in this pattern, again, it's over on my website under shawls and wraps. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys. First, before I go anywhere else, anybody have any questions for me? Want to ask me anything? I'm interested. I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. At some point, my body will get used to this dry weather here in Eastern Washington, and I will sound like myself again, I think. I hope, anyway. Thank you, Irene. I definitely check it out. Okay, so while I'm waiting, oh, yay, Linda's here. So great. And Brad, glad you guys made it. Okay, I'm going to talk about something that came up today, this morning, actually, on my social media that I thought I would address a little bit here with you guys. I don't know how many of you follow along with my blog. I know I posted on Facebook and I post on Instagram when I release a new blog post. And yesterday I released a blog post that I actually released a few months ago, but then I re-released it on my new blog yesterday, called Crocheting with Yarns That Split. And on Instagram, I got a question from someone who wanted me to address why I don't agree with the S twist versus Z twist. Do you guys know that? Anybody know what I'm talking about when I say S twist and V twist? Or maybe I should ask, who doesn't know what I'm talking about? Anybody not know what I'm talking about? Okay, Pat doesn't understand. Okay, so when you're looking at yarn, let me see if I can get some more weight here. Okay. Take this. All right. When you're looking at yarn, okay, and you're crocheting with it, okay, if you look at the way the plies are twisted on themselves, I would say 90% of the yarns out there, maybe even more than that, you'll see that the plies have an angle. And in this case, it's angling. For me, it's what I call an S twist, because if you look at the way the S twist, if you write the letter S, the top part of the S is going to be on the left side in the middle where it curves, and the bottom part is on the right-hand side. And that's exactly what's going to happen when you look at it. You can't really tell with a camera here. I don't think I'm going to be able to give you, maybe down here you can see a little bit where the twist is. But it's, S means it's the center part of the S, where it goes from top to bottom, angles from left to right. And Z twist means the top goes from the right to the left, like a Z. When you write the letter Z, the top of the Z is on the right and the bottom of the Z, that center part, is on the left. That's how it angles. So S angles one way and Z angles the other way. Does that make sense so far? Furls really promotes the Z twist with their yarns. Vashti Abraha also has a Lotus brand yarn that does Z twist. I'm trying to think what else. It's really frustrating for me because I've been crocheting since the 1970s. Okay, guys. And all of the yarn was pretty much S twist back then. I can't even think of a yarn that might have been Z twist. I mean, I use all the box store yarns. I can tell you Lion Brand, Red Heart, Karen yarns, Lily Sugar and Cream, Peaches and Cream. What else did I use out there those days? There was Plymouth yarn was around, but not as popular as it is now. But there's another brand that's no longer available that I cannot think of right now. That I used to use. All of them were S twists. In fact, when you're learning to spin yarn, which I have learned to spin yarn, you can learn to spin both ways. But when you're making your singles before you ply to have multiple plies, the majority of the time you're going to spin them as an S twist and then, or a Z twist, I'm sorry, a Z twist, and then ply them as S. And that's due to how you want the yarn to control itself. I mean, you ply one way or you spin one way and you ply the other to make the twist work. Peyton's. Thank you, Marianne. That's the other brand that I use, Peyton's. And Bernat as well, yes. So I learned in the 1970s. And in the 1970s, acrylic yarn, especially, and I can say especially when Dazzle was out and Simply Soft, those two were huge splitty yarns. They're not so bad anymore, but back then they were not plied very well. They were easy to split. They would, especially Dazzle would just untwist and things like that. And the one thing my grandmother taught me, and actually my dad taught me this too. My dad is a cabinet maker, and he and my grandmother both had this thing that if you had trouble with the materials you were using, you just needed to find the right tool to work with that material. So in my dad's case, with woodworking, you know, if a certain type of chisel was not working to carve something out of his wood, he would switch to a different kind of chisel. Does that make sense so far, guys? I mean, that's probably the easiest I can say in woodworking. My dad had a lot of different tools for a lot of different things, but chisels are something most people know what they are, to carve with. If he couldn't get a certain tool, a certain chisel to do what he wanted, he would go to a different brand. It could be a different cut. It could be a different shape, but it was to do what he wanted to do. He got the right tool for the job. Well, my nonna, who taught me to crochet, is the same thing. Whenever I would get a splitty yarn, nonna would always say, you change the brand of your hook, or you find a different size hook. So, for example, back in the 70s, we really only had two different styles of hooks for the most part. It was either Boy, which is a Coates and Clark company hook, or Susan Bates. And if you know anything about either style hook, Boy, I'm gonna use this for example. This is a Boy style hook, even though this is actually an Addy brand hook. You know what? I'm gonna do this. Let's grab my other hooks that are over here. This will actually make it better. Okay. So I'm going to find something that's a little bit more. Okay, here it's easier to see. This is a wooden hook, but the reason this is not a Boy hook, it's not a Susan Bates, this is a hand carved hook. However, I would call this a Boy style hook because if you look at the bowl of the hook, and now the bowl of the hook is this part here, and this where you would catch your yarn here. See how wide that is? Boy style hooks are going to be your best option for catching splitty yarns because you've got this nice big opening here. And when you've got a splitty yarn, you want to make sure you got the right hook size for that too. So even though a label might say use a size F for this particular yarn, I would say go up to G or H if it's a splitty yarn, because you'll be able to catch in that bowl better what's going on. Now, Susan Bates, let me find a Susan Bates style. Do I have one that's more Susan Bates? I'm not a fan of Susan Bates hooks, so I may not have one that is really a Susan Bates style. This is an actual Boy hook. See how right in here it's a little thinner, but it's still more open than normal. Let me see if I've got this. I got one more thing of hooks up here. Hang on, guys. Okay, find a Susan Bates. Okay, here's a Susan Bates. Now it's a very it's hard to see on camera, but instead of having a nice round bowl in there, you get more of a slit. It's just like, see, I'm a very, you can tell I'm very much a, here's a little bit thicker. That's a Susan Bates. So it's more of a slit rather than a bowl in there. I'm going to see if I can show you these two side by side. See how the wooden hook has more of a rounded area to catch the yarn, and the Susan Bates, which is the blue metal, has just more of a slit. Susan Bates, because of I am a knife holder, I cannot catch the yarn even with a bigger Susan Bates. I could go up 4 sizes and a splitty yarn is still going to split. Doesn't matter if I'm right-handed, doesn't matter if I'm left-handed, doesn't matter if I'm a Z twist or an S twist. It is honestly a wives' tale, in my opinion, based on more than 40 years of crocheting, being able to crochet with both hands, and being a spinner of yarn, that a Z twist is going to make a difference. It's a marketing thing, honestly, guys. The person who questioned me about it on Instagram made a comment about instead of yarning over, she yarns under, which means instead of putting the yarn over the top of the hook, she puts the yarn under the hook to grab it. And I can tell you that is the incorrect way to crochet. And what's one of the biggest pet peeves I have is that you should learn to crochet properly. It doesn't mean that in certain cases you can't switch from over to under for a particular way you want the yarn to twist. But by going under the yarn instead of under the hook rather than over the hook, the yarn twists incorrectly and your stitch is formed incorrectly. So when I'm teaching beginners, I spend a lot of time on why you yarn over the way you do and why you never go, if you're right-handed, you never go the opposite direction. A lot of people will wrap from back to front rather than front to back. And the stitches look different. It's just, it is done incorrectly. And the only reason why I am so focused on that is because my grandmother was so focused on that, because I did a lot of thread work with my grandmother. And she would show me why, if I yarned over the wrong, what I'm going to call the wrong way, I try not to use that very often in crochet, but in this case, I'm going to say if you're yarning over the wrong way, what it does in thread, especially why the stitches look different and why your pattern doesn't look the same. It's the same idea for those crocheters who learn to crochet working in the back loop and don't understand that it's going to give you ridges where you shouldn't have ridges in certain patterns, because you always assume that you work through both loops of the hook of the stitch. So it's the same idea with how you wrap your yarn on your hook. Z twist, S twist, it's a real thing that they do. Some people do a Z twist rather than an S twist, but how it affects crocheters, into my opinion, is a wives' tale. And I know there's a lot of crocheters. I know Furls yarns, Furls hooks. I have a Furls hook here, in fact. Furls. I know that they really, really tout that. And I know that Vashti does too, and no offense to them, but it's really not an issue. If you have the right tools and you have the right mentality of how to work with splitty yarn and, using a bigger hook, slowing down your crochet. This linen that I'm working with is very splitty, extremely splitty. And that's one of the reasons why, too, that this bag isn't done yet, is because I'm going back and fixing areas that have split on me. It takes me longer to do a stitch in some cases because the yarn is split. It's, again, the right tool for the right materials. And if you are a true artist in any form, whether it's fiber, it's wood, it's paint, it's paper, whatever it is, you will know that you need to have the right tools. That's why crocheters tend to have a million different kinds of crochet hooks. And this isn't even all of my hooks. I have a whole drawer full down here, plus I have the ones I use all the time downstairs. These are my favorite when I'm designing. But I have different types of crochet hooks for different fibers, different techniques. I have crochet hooks that have really, really sharp points here for what is known as camel crochet, because you need those points to be able to do those camel crochet stitches. I have Tunisian hooks. I have double-ended hooks. And sometimes I use my Tunisian and my double-ended hooks for standard crochet because the way they are made or the way they move in my hands. I love Tunisian hooks for bullion stitches. So it's having the right tool. And it also depends on whether you're a knife holder, which is what I am, or a pencil holder, which I can do as well. My grandmother made me crochet this way. I'm more comfortable this way, but I can flip both ways, and I can do it with my right hand or my left hand. So does that make sense, guys? Why? I mean, you don't have to agree with me. You can, go out there and buy the Z twist and try it out. And maybe for you, it's true that it doesn't split as much, but for me as a longtime crocheter who has dealt with the yarns of the 70s that split a lot, it's having the right tool. It's having the right tool. So does that make sense? I see Bonnie said she loved my response on Instagram. I know there's a lot of people who don't agree with me with this, but I have years of experience with it. So, and this is my belief, and I won't ever teach that you need to work with Z yarn rather than S yarn. That's just not in. I think Line Brand just came out with the Z yarn, if I'm not mistaken. But I believe you can crochet with wire, you can crochet with string, you can crochet with spaghetti. I mean, you can crochet with electrical cords. There's no reason why you have to have a Z versus an S. That's just my take on it. So anybody have a question on that or anything? Let's see. Brat's mom says, I have tons of crochet hook sets, Boy, Clover, Denise, etc. It makes a lot of sense. Variety is the spice of life in using different yarns. Yes, exactly. And it just came to mind for some reason. Remember back in the 90s and early 2000s how the eyelash yarns were really popular. I mean, even with those, you needed to have a bowl on your hook that was a little bigger so those eyelashes would pull through the twists of the crochet stitch. You could knit with them a lot easier than you could with crochet unless you got a larger hook for those crochet hook, for those eyelashes to come through. Laura says, it does make sense. Some fibers split for me more than others, especially if I inherit older yarns or yard sale yarns. Yes. And you'll notice, agreed, as the years go by, the newer yarns, whether they're the box store yarns or the higher end yarns you find in yarn shops, or indie dyer yarns, or yarns like Barocco or Malabrigo or any of those, their twists are getting tighter for the most part. One of the things that's nice about a tighter twist is for crocheters, you get more stitch definition. It's true with knitting as well, but crocheters are starting to see the tighter the twist on the yarn, the better your stitch definition is. So if you're doing cables or you're doing a Tunisian form that has a really solid fabric, your stitches will pop more because of the tighter twists. That's huge with crocheters is the tighter the twist, the better your stitches are going to look and your stitch definition is. But if you have still in your stash old yarns from the 70s and the 80s and maybe even the early 90s, you'll notice that, Simply Soft from the 70s to now is become so much tighter twists. I mean, it's still very slick and can slip, and you can still split it, but not nearly what it was when it was back in the late 70s, early 80s. I can tell you. I mean, I made a lot of baby things with Simply Soft back in the day, and my cousins were all having babies back then, and I was the second youngest of 7, so I was making stuff for all of them, and yeah, no, it's so much better. The twist now is so much better. I'm knitting a pair of wristers for my friend who provided the yarn. It is very splitty. I'm using bamboo DPNs, so the yarn is easier to knit. Yeah, that's another thing. If you're having trouble with splitty yarn, bamboo is one of them. Unless it's cable plied, bamboo will split no matter how tight it's twisted. If you're using a wooden hook or a bamboo hook, you're gonna have less trouble. That's another thing too. I should have mentioned earlier. Is wood is not as slick as metal hooks. I like metal hooks, metal knitting needles, because they slide fast and I can work faster. But if I'm using a splitty yarn, I will switch to a wood hook. I have, let's see if I can find it. I think this is it. Yes, these are the ones. I have, these are no longer made either. These are Lantern Moon rosewood hooks. And even though they've got a nice smoothness to them, they still are what I call sticky because they're wood. And so a splitty yarn and a wood hook will work better in that respect too, or a bamboo hook. They're a little stickier, and the fibers will hold on to the hook easier than on a metal hook. So that's another thing to think about when you are working with fibers. Is it slick? Is it silk? Is it bamboo? There's yarns out there. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I can tell you for sure Trendsetter Yarns has this cake yarn that's multiple strands of like lace weight yarn. I think it's like 4 or 5 strands that are not really plied that well together. Wood hook with that yarn, anything that's not truly plied, it feels like there are multiple plies that aren't twisted. Even working with 2 strands of fingering weight yarn, I will use a wood hook because that helps me grab things better than if I'm working with one. I can use a metal hook. But that's definitely, using bamboo or wood will help with that slickness too, or the splittiness too. Does that make sense, guys? Anybody else have any questions on that or a different opinion? I mean, I'm glad if you have a reason why you feel Z is better than S for crocheters, I'm glad to hear it. I mean, I am by no means the absolute expert on this, but with what I do and how long I've been doing it, I see it as a wives' tale. It's having the right tools to work with what you're working on that makes the difference. Thanks, Marianne. I made good points. I'm glad I made some good points. It's something I've been thinking about ever since they first started talking about Z-twist. In fact, I have purchased Z-twist yarns and found that I really don't like it. I don't like the way the stitches look because I like the continuity of the S. The Z gives me something that looks a little different. So there's that too. I mean, if somebody came out and asked me to do a design in their yarn and it was a Z twist, I'd probably do it, but it doesn't mean necessarily I'm going to like it. So there you go. Any other questions about this or anything else? I mean, we can chat about anything else too, guys. Trying to think what else is new out there. Oh, I do want to tell you, I forgot about this till just a second. People have been asking me when our next crochet along is going to be, and it's going to be in September. I already have the date that it's actually going to start. It's going to be September 13th, which is a Monday. I cannot tell you, it will be a pattern that you guys will be able to see before we do the crochet along, just like I did with Bewitched earlier this year. However, I can't tell you what it is right now. Because the pattern cannot be released to the public with what it is going to be until August. But I do want to let you know that there is one coming, and it's going to be just like Bewitched, where we did live Zooms every week. And then it'll be 4 weeks, and then we'll do a drawing, I believe, it's going to either be the 11th or the 18th of October. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. So there you go. So there's one coming, and I have a date. So I had to wait until after I could release it, and then after my daughter's wedding. My daughter's getting married September 4th, and I wanted to make sure I had enough time to just kind of settle down before I went right into that crochet along. So there you go. Linda says, I never paid attention to Z or S or Z twist, but I would think I'll start looking at that. Most of the time right now, you're going to find that your yarns are S twist. Usually if it's a Z twist, it's going to say on the label that it's a Z twist. I know that the one that from Lion Brand, I believe, it says it's called Z twist. The Lotus yarn from Vashti is, as says on the label, I believe, Z twist. The furls, I mean, they just keep pushing Z twist. So I'm assuming that's got to be on the label. So there you go. So yeah, you'll know whether it's Z twist. But if you just remember that if an S twist has the top of the twist on the left side and the bottom on the right, and the Z has it on the top of the twist is on the right and the bottom is on the left. So there you go. Trying to think if there's, I was going to show you guys this too, and I forgot. I got this at the grocery store the other day, Monday actually. This is a magazine called The Joy of Thread. I haven't seen in, this is something that brought back by popular demand. I believe this is a reprint of the magazine. But the thing that made me laugh, and this is why I think it's a reprint of the magazine, is they had my ad for my Delta Lace Crochet and say it's new, which it's not. The book's been out since, I want to say 2011, 2012. So this is a reprint, but there's some really cool patterns. And I'm a thread. I mean, my grandmother taught me thread. That's why I like using, lighter weight cottons, lighter weight yarns in general. But there's some really, really cool patterns in here. So if you see it at the grocery store, it's going to be on the stands until July 5th. So this is one you guys can look for. But I had to buy it because it made me laugh with that ad in there. So, Linda's asking, did you say you have to crochet Z twist differently? No, you don't. You don't have to crochet anything differently. The theory behind the Z twist is because it's twisted opposite of S is that it's not going to split as much. And whether that's true or not, I honestly don't think that's true because I have had Z twist yarns that split. In fact, it just seems to. What people think they need to do with S twist is instead of yarning over your hook, they yarn under your hook. And then again, it's twisting the yarn the wrong way and your stitch is not going to look the same. So it's not so visible in a single crochet, but as you get your taller stitches, especially when you get up to double and triple and double triples, if you yarn over the wrong way, it twists wrong. So it looks different than the true stitch looks. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? I'm hoping. So I showed you the magazine. I told you about the crochet along. I don't think there's anything else I have new for you guys. Oh, good, Linda. Yes. Okay, great. I'm glad that answered your question. I don't have anything else I think that I need to mention. So if you guys have a question for me, go ahead and put it there in the chat room so that I can answer it. Otherwise, I'll give it a minute here and then I'll just do my closing credits. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I told you I have a super secret project over there. That's about it for right now, guys. Okay, I'll come back to the chat room in a minute. I'm just going to go ahead and do my closing credits, and then we'll come back and say goodbye in the chat room. So thank you, everyone, especially those of you who have followed along until the end of this stream. If you want to learn more about me, make sure you check out my website here down at the bottom, KarenHooley.com. Everything about Karen Hooley Designs is there, including my newsletter, which I highly recommend that you subscribe to. You'll get a free pattern right off the bat and a new free pattern every single fiscal year. So in January, every year, you'll get a brand new pattern, and it is a brand new pattern. It's not something I recycle from my catalog. I create a brand new pattern every year for my subscribers. So make sure you subscribe for that. You get 25% off all new releases, discounts on new books, and you'll be the first to learn about classes that are going on the schedule. If you're not watching on YouTube, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is the link there here at the bottom of the screen on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you know when I go live immediately. And also, if you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up so that my videos are shown to more people and we can get our community here, our Team Whooleygan community, a little bit bigger. You can also follow me on Facebook. This is my Facebook page. I also stream live here as well. So make sure you like this this stream as well so people will see it. And you'll be able to see other things that I post. I try to post at least once a day on Facebook. And I check one to two times a day to answer questions and things like that. The social media I am most active on is Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram at Karen Hooley, no spaces in my name. Make sure you follow me there. And whether you follow me on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, make sure that you join in on conversation. If you're watching after the fact, I love it when you do leave me comments and I can answer them there as well. And I also love conversations on Instagram. As you can probably tell, I had somebody today, talk about the S and Z twists, and that sparked this conversation here on what I believe about S and Z twists here on YouTube and Facebook. If you're not a fan of Facebook or Facebook or YouTube, you can also follow me in Rumble. This is my Rumble channel. I will upload this video and all videos when I go live up to Rumble after the fact. I'm not able to stream there live quite yet. So make sure you check out my Rumble channel. And if you're interested in checking out Rumble, it's free for you, but I do have an affiliate link. So if you do sign up, they do give me a kickback for letting people know about Rumble. So make sure you use my affiliate link. And it's free for you. So it's not going to cost you anything to try out Rumble. And that is it. I'm going to head over to the comments here really quick. Laura said, I wish I could do thread. Smaller than 2 hurts my wrist. Carpal tunnel really sucks. I have minor carpal tunnel, Laura, and I've learned to switch back and forth between pencil and knife holds, and that has helped with my carpal tunnel. I don't know if it's going to make a difference with the smaller than 2, but the other thing that you can do to help with carpal tunnel is instead of using the smaller hooks with thread, use larger hooks. When I teach my lace classes and we work with actual lace yarn, I have everybody using a size G hook. So you don't have to use those tiny, tiny hooks to do thread or lace weight. So just, they don't have to be the tiny, tiny stuff. Now, if you want, the tiny doilies that are done in cotton, that's a different story. But if you like the look of lace and even the cotton threads, definitely play with it with larger hooks. It's really, really, really a good way to do that. Linda, I did talk about that at the beginning. I'm feeling okay. I'm still a little sore from surgery, but I am feeling okay. I'm still waiting for the doctor to get back to me. And Kelly, I'm so sorry you missed almost all of it. Definitely watch it later. I'm glad that you popped in, though. It's good to see you. You have steel hooks, but I think working with them would be torturous. I have my grandmother's, do I have it here? I have one of my grandmother's size 14 steel hook here somewhere. I can't find it. It might be in, oh, here we go. This is her size 10. And here is her size 10. I have another one. I know I have a size 14 and I have a size 16, and they are so well worn that this part of the hook is bent because she used it so much. So yeah, they are torturous. I used a 10, I think, for my son's first communion banner that I had in the church using size 20 thread. So it's a lot of work, a lot of work. And it is hard and it takes a long time. Oh, you always watch later. Thanks, Kelly, for supporting me. I appreciate that. You're welcome, Linda. Definitely, if you watch the first part, you'll hear me talking about all of the surgery last week. And you would need a microscope. It's hard. I mean, the older my eyes get, I can't go. I don't think I could do anything smaller than 20 these days. I used to do 30 and 40. I've even, done smaller than that, played with sewing thread and things like that. But definitely, the older I'm getting, the harder it is to see with those smaller hooks. And Mary Ann says, use a pencil grip over handle. Yep, that too. Pencil grip with thread work is definitely easier than doing this way. I'm sorry. Yeah, pencil is definitely better than this with thread, especially the smaller threads. That's true. It helps with carpal tunnel as well. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm so glad you all were here. I'll see you next week. And if you have any questions, you guys always know you can leave me comments here or go to my website and write to me. And I am glad to answer any questions. Let's see. Kelly says, I think I had to use 40 to repair a tablecloth. Yes. Yeah, my grandmother, the best spread I have for my grandmother is done in 10, but I have a lot of doilies that are from my grandmother and my great aunt who both done in 30s and 40s and stuff like that. A gripper is a tool. Yes, it is. And first for me, trying to guess what the stitches are was fun. Yay, that's good too. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off. It's 10:02 here, so it's time for me to get to work again. But I enjoyed being here with you. I see a lot of people are still here, so I'm going to say goodbye right now and have a great week. And I will see you next Wednesday. Talk to you all soon. Thanks.